right. Hey, everybody. It's Lori Branch, Lauren Lowry. We're back.
What up? What up? It's Women's Month. What's up, Lori?
You know, I'm always excited for International Women's Month for so many reasons. It sort of reminds me, though, of like Black History Month. Like, why don't we just get a month? Like, why is it that the marginalized people get a month and everybody else gets the rest of the year? But anyway, whatever the reason, I'm happy to celebrate it. And, you know, March 8th is actually International Women's Day, so we're going to be on right around that time. Yeah. And what better way to start the month than with our friend and fierce Chicago DJ, DREEA. DREEA, welcome.
Hi, thank you. What an honor to be here. I appreciate
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you because this I think your third appearance on Vintage House. So soon enough, you're going to be co-hosting. So
exactly.
Just watch out, you know. So DREEA is hosting. She hosts her own shows live every week on YouTube, Mixcloud, Twitch TV. You can hear her on Friday nights for the Friday night audio show on WKKC FM 89.3. Is that still happening, DREEA?
Yes, 4 p.m. Yep.
So you're a busy girl.
Yes.
How do you find time to do all these shows?
You know what? It is hard. Like, and the funny thing is I do a live show, like you were saying, on Sundays. So, you know, it takes time to prep for that. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I don't do it because I don't have time to prep. I also provide content for another internet radio station, Vintage House, Future Vision Entertainment, and I provide step-in mixes for them. So I have to do, I have to create content for that. And so trying to fit that into work and teaching, and it's very hard. It is. It's been plenty of times when I've had to ask them to repeat my mixes because I just couldn't get to everything.
I want to unpack that a little bit because in the spirit of working women do tend to work really hard, and sometimes I was listening to this piece on NPR radio this morning about like what the happiness quotient, like what makes people happy, and they talked about the happiest country, and it was in Denmark. Why are people so happy there? And especially they're paying 50% of their income tax, but they pay to that so that there's a social contract with people that we want you to be happy, we want you to be relaxed, we want you to have time to have your hobbies. So work shouldn't be consuming you all the time. So, you know, they have shortened work days, they have longer lives. Certainly they're not without problems, but it certainly got me thinking about like, damn, we work so much. Like, I bet everybody who's watching this today, it works just as hard as we do. Like so many hours, so many nights. Why do we do it? Why do we do it to ourselves?
I wanted to pay my car off. I mean, you have obligations.
Got bills to pay. I mean, that's what's up on the
that's a huge driving factor, right? The financial side of it.
Right.
And then I just started working at Governor State University in June. I've been adjuncting full-time, just meaning part-time, but in multiple schools since 2016. But, I was working to live, because my teaching schedule is low in the summer and I have none during winter break. So whatever money I earn during this fall and spring, I have to spend, to eat during those months. And so I basically needed a full-time job where I could sustain all of my bills without having to do an additional job. Now, the additional job is so that I could do other things like pay off bill. I'm into this no debt, living. And so sometimes you just have to do it out of obligation for financial stability. And, sometimes people do it for career goals and stuff like, the fact that I teach the same topics that I'm doing at work and I'm doing at work the same topics that I teach. It's a good balance. But I do care about work-life balance. So, for example, I do have to get certifications and things like that, but there's certain areas that I'm in. I'm in the IT field. In certain areas, I refuse to spend the time to get the technical certification because it would totally throw off my work-life balance. So some things I just won't do because I feel like I'm too old for that. Even though I'm not, mentally I could do it, but just
what do you feel like you're too old for?
So there's a certification for Cisco, which they, do do infrastructure equipment and stuff. And it's a very popular, certification, but it would probably take a good 2 years just to get the basics, and then probably another year to learn how to teach it. And I'm just like, I can't. I'm not.
You don't. I don't think it's about time. I think you just don't want to do it.
Well, that too. And if the time commitment is not worth it. So it's funny. One of my students was asking me, like, I want to do this kind of job. What made you, like, I can do server stuff, but I mostly do desktop. And the thing that makes me not choose server positions is because they're 24/7. If it says I can work 8 to 5, I'm fine. But if it says I have to be on a rotating schedule, I'm not doing it. When I was 20 and 30, I did that, right? I earned my bones, or whatever, the saying is. But now I feel like I'm too old for that. Like, this is the twilight time when I should be thinking about how am I going to leverage myself so that I can retire comfortably, and then do the things that I really want to do. Like, I think I've told you, I want to be a musician. I am, but not really, right? I don't get to spend all the time that I want with that part of me, and so that's almost like what I look forward to on the second half.
Well, I think it's like, I love to hear you talk about it. So you're in the IT field. You're saying you don't want to fix servers because that's got you running around. So you're doing other things with IT for different companies, I imagine. But DJing, especially a mobile DJ, a club DJ, you put in some hours. I mean, that's not easy work.
Yeah.
And you talk to anybody who's on the road. That's not a retirement job.
No, I get it. And the thing is, if I could play the lottery and win tomorrow, I would totally quit my job. I would go get a master's in music. And if I was going to teach anything, that's what I would teach.
You just teach music.
I would spend my time creating content, whether it's DJing, whether it's producing, whether it's original content, original works. I have a book I want to publish. I, want to make music of my own. Like, that is what I would spend my time doing it. But like you said, it's just not enough time. It's not enough hours, right? So things fall to the wayside. So that's why I end up scrambling, being up all night, prepare so I can do my show today because I was out, or I was, grading papers. So I had to, balance it all. It's just a lot. It really is.
Do you have any days off, DREEA?
So I don't teach on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. So that's good.
That's good.
That's good. But, even though I'm not in the classroom, which is good because those are hours that I could be doing other things, I still need to grade papers and all that kind of stuff and prepare for whatever's coming. So
where do you teach?
It never stops. College at DePage and city colleges. I've taught at Wright College.
City colleges.
Humboldt Park. And this semester I'm teaching at Daly.
Wow. You are super busy. You are really busy. But that's the really interesting thing. I think, you have this year clearly a technical person, but this creative outlet with music and with DJing, again, there is time that it takes for you to do all those things. How do you prioritize sort of your music life right now? Are you DJing and making content and going out and spinning and doing different things? How do you prioritize, what you're doing? Like, how does your day sort of line up? You've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. How do you make all that work?
Right. So the fact that I do my Sunday show and it's 2 hours, that helps me because I have to provide an hour content for the internet radio show and an hour content for KKC. So just from that one session, I've got 2 weeks that if I wanted to not, play live the next Sunday, I could get away with that because I might need to dedicate that time to do prep work or studying or something. So that helps. And then, on the weekends, like Fridays and Saturdays, that's really the time I should be. If I'm going to do my show on Sunday, I should be prepping for that. But also on Sunday, after I do my show, that's when I grade papers and And then every day, like I have my classes Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. So it helps that I've taught these classes before. The very first time you teach a class, it's a lot of prep work, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that I've taught them before, so my prep work is minimal. And now it's just review. And I could do that, the night before or right before. So that's what helps me right now. But when it's brand new, yeah, I do definitely need to use my weekends to be productive. Because my classes end Monday, Wednesday is supposed to end at 8:50, and Tuesday, Thursday is supposed to end at 9:20. So, I mean, it's time to go to bed.
PM or AM?
PM.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after I've done a full day at work, then I come in and do that. Yeah. So I should be going to bed after I do that, So yeah, that's how I try to balance it. I try to make Sundays like a really productive day, preparing my mixes, posting them and all that, and then doing work for my classes. And then if there's anything left over, I just do it during the week before or, the day before my class. So.
And as a non-DJ, I'm just going to throw in, prep work. People think y'all just pop up and start spinning records, right? So I want to unpack a little bit what you mean by prep work. What are you doing and how long does that take?
So prep work for me is I usually have concepts of mixes, meaning what do I want to say? I'm always trying to say something. So sometimes I'm inspired by the invitation to come and appear on Vintage House, right? So I never forget. I get there and Lori was like, "Yeah, you're spinning," and I'm like, "I am. I didn't bring any. I don't have any music." And she's like, "Okay, well, I have thumb drives." I'm like, "Cool." And then I just spun a set right there using her music. So I looked at that video, I listened to it, and I was like, "I'm going to pay homage to that." I'm going to find all the songs I played. And, it's not an hour of me playing. And then I just fill the rest in with music. And
I remember that. It was so cool.
Yeah. And so something like that will just, and I would say, you know what? I think this week I want to pay homage to Lori Branch, for a Vintage House, the opportunity. And then I just come up with songs and I prep them, find them, figure out where do I want to, make them most interesting, effective as far as blending them together and all that. Melodically, I think about that as well. Like I like mixing songs that melodically go together because sometimes I like to do long blends. And if I'm going to do that, it requires that the songs don't clash. And so, yeah, I really think about it. Steve Miggity Maestro is, I don't understand why, but he has just been very gracious with me on his work.
Good guy. That's why.
And so if he shares music with me, I will do a homage to him. I've done 4 of them because I would just take the music he shared with me and then put it back in the universe in my own way. So I have to think about what are the songs I want to put together, how I want it to sound, what is it that I want to say. Today, my cousin had given me like tons and tons of music, and I finally went through it. And I came up with this set today. It was like mostly disco, a little old school Chicago house. I mean, it was fun. It's really dope. I mean, if I must say so myself, but the fact that he took the time to give me music, it's like, again, he put it in the universe. I want to share this with you. And then here it is. I'm trying to share it with everybody else. And I put it out there. Thanks to this person, DJ Mike Davis, I was able to do this. Thanks to my cousin, DJ Chris Lutz, I was able to do this. So
that's so good.
I have to, they say give people their roses while they're living. It's just a thing of mine. I just have to tell people, thank you. I have to let them know that you made an impact on me. If nobody tells you, I'm telling you, you made an impact on me, because sometimes people never know. One of my favorite movies is It's a Wonderful Life. This person had a chance to see what the world would be like without them. And so you just never know the impact you have on people. And so these are the things that inspire me to make my mixes. Of course, sometimes, it's just the venue that I'm going to mix at or whatever. And I'll think about these people, what kind of music might they want to hear? But the idea of just finding music, curating it, all that is, it takes time. At least for me, that's how I roll. And sometimes I might practice a little. Like if it's a blend or a concept inside my head, but then when I try it, I'm like, I don't know, that might not work. And, I have to think about the equipment. When you're working on rotaries, that's a little different than, standard, mixers.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I try to take all that stuff in consideration.
Yeah, I love the thematic way you're thinking. And I know that I'm inspired because I got to get more mixes out there. People are like, what's up lately? You haven't posted anything forever. I haven't done a live show. And, for the 2 fans that I have, I'm like, yeah, okay.
For the hundreds of fans, for the thousands of fans.
For the 2 fans I have. I said, I'm going to get something out there. But I definitely, I would agree with Lauren is that it's not as easy as just showing up. Like, I can't just, I did that a couple of times, and you can be spontaneous and really rock it. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's better to think it out. I like to spend time with it and really think through a set. And what am I trying to say with this? Is this about a club that I used to DJ in, or is this about a person that inspired me, like you were talking about?
Right.
So I totally get that. So, speaking of inspiration, while we're on the subject of International Women's Month, I do want to sort of highlight women. There are a lot of women in house music, and we'll get to that because I want to talk about specific women who've inspired us. And that maybe we're helping to, bring along in this field. But, what are your thoughts on inspirational women? And I'd love to ask you, like, if you can think of 2 women, maybe more, whatever, one that's here and one maybe from the past, or however you want to mix it up. Like, who comes to mind when you think of inspiring women? And Lauren, I know you've got a few, more than a few.
I specialize in historic Black people. So I'll let DREEA go, our guest.
Okay, so, so I'm going to say one person that inspires me is a family member, my cousin Kim. She's my first cousin. We're like sisters. As a matter of fact, she calls me Sister Cuzzo. I look up to her because she's spiritual, she's knowledgeable, she's like a soothsayer. she listens to all of, she's there when I need anything. And it's just cool having the person to be able to talk to you and give you good advice and to even foresee when things are going to happen, and she's helping me in my journey of me. I never knew, I've been in therapy before, failed relationships and all this kind of stuff. And I was just trying to figure out what the heck is going on with me? Like, why do I keep doing this same thing? And I never realized that everything kind of goes back to some kind of root. And this is the thing that she's been talking to me about. There's a root to every problem. So the issue is to try to find the root. Then once you find the root, then you can address the root, and then that will help everything else kind of fall into play after that. So that's like the major thing that she's taught me. And when I was in therapy, so I paid somebody to go and find out the same thing, and my friends laugh at me. They're like, you could have gave me that money. I've been saying this to you forever. But, it was kind of the same thing. The way that I interact with people or am in relationships, it goes back to my mother, how I view her, and our relationship, our dynamic. And that basically plays out in other relationships. And I had no idea. So now it's so easy for me to like see other people talking about stuff. And I'll be like, it's the so-and-so, I know.
I gotta talk about that because you brought it up. Mothers. So, mothers are tough.
It's tough.
Mothers are tough. And I think that they get a lot more scrutiny than fathers do because we have such higher expectations about how they're supposed to be in relationship to us, right? And especially women. I think that when we have this Vintage House show, how many times do people talk about their mothers, Lauren? Feels like all the time. Somebody's talking about bringing up their mom and how instrumental they were in their DJ career.
Let me tell you one other thing. I will let you go forward. But what I've learned in the years of us interviewing people, and when you listen more, you'll see that mothers have derailed a lot of careers as well. people have left what they were doing. I was DJing in New York, but my mom and dad got a divorce. I had to come back and take care of my mom. Mm-hmm. People today, elderly parents, well, my mom needed something, so I can't travel. I can't do these things anymore because my mom needs me. So moms, they do a lot of positives, but also some things that we should be thinking about as parents that we should not inflict upon our children.
Oh, yes. I think you're saying a lot there.
The old "I gave birth to you" card. My mom, I can remember when I got my first car and I was like, could you not smoke in it? And she totally pulled that card out. And I was like, okay, never mind.
Like, away.
You can't get away from this contract. I've asked, is there any way for me to get out of this contract? Because this person is unbearable. But my cousin, she's been able to help me deal with that because she, has her own issue with her mother as well. And their relationship has been way more tumultuous than my mom's has, but she's done the right thing by her. She's elderly. She needed care. She bought a house so she can move her mom in. You know what I'm saying? So I could learn a lot from that. But also, I just remember as a little girl, my cousin used to come over and she was my enforcer. If someone picked on me, they didn't pick on me again after she came to the neighborhood. So you have that part of her.
Yes.
She's caring.
Right on, Kim.
Yeah. I've been in relationships and, my feelings are hurt and I'm crying or whatever. And she's like, who is it? Tell me their address. She doesn't even live in Chicago, but if she did, I could imagine her like showing up somewhere.
Right.
So she is just, that's my girl, right? I love her.
Big props to Kim.
Big props to Kim.
She goes on our list of really great women for international month.
And the other side, I would just say, is all female DJs, especially the ones who paved the way. This is the funny thing, I guess, about me and my opportunities and the people, you being in my life. Like, I had no clue. Like, look, I graduated from high school in 86. I went to the Marine Corps. I was pretty much away for 4 years, came back. Whatever I listened to was on the radio. Right. I don't remember any female DJs being on the radio. I wasn't out in the clubs, so I didn't have exposure. So I had no clue of what you guys were doing, right? So, fast forward all this time, I meet you randomly, right? Because 40 Plus has his birthday party.
Yep.
How I meet you. I don't know that I'm playing in front of a legend, So
right.
said to me, because you gave me a thumbs up, and he was like, "You just got a thumbs up from a legend," and I'm like, "Great," and I'm like, "I have no idea. I have no idea." By First Lady. Sundance, when I realized that she was the person on the radio, and, on the old school song, I can't, it's escaping me. I was like, oh, so that's you. And she was like, duh, DREEA. I was, touring the country when I was 17. I was like, I had no idea. So all these people, you guys have just been so warm and caring and open to befriend me, and you don't even know me from a can of paint. Like,
it's part of the sisterhood.
I love it.
I think there is, first of all, house music encourages that kind of openness and warmth. You know what I'm saying? It's a community that feels like you're constantly in a family reunion. Like everybody, like even if you didn't hang out with that person, you knew you were seeing the same things. Mm-hmm. You were hearing the same sounds. You were connecting to the same DJs. And so you're part of this bigger fabric. Mm-hmm. And so I think, when people come into the fold, it's just like, yeah, well, welcome. We've been here all along, right? All of us. We've all been here all along.
It's a beautiful thing. I feel like I'm so blessed for the opportunities. Ray Chardonnay, like, I found out she was a distant cousin. She's, giving me opportunities. Gemini Jones. I went to DJing school. I met a young lady, DJ Stack. She told me about, going to the women's development business, center to. So I just been so privileged to kind of run across Lady D when I was in Champaign. Of course, yeah. When I was in Champaign, this DJ at the time, his name is DJ Motion. He was like, "You need to become Facebook friends with Lady D." I started listening to her podcast on iTunes. I heard this song, Juke That Girl from the Back. Never heard that before. Loved it. Play it to this day. Use that to find other music.
Yes,
I
yes.
used her EPK as the template for my EPK. She's been open to me, very warm. I mean, I don't.
Kind of nice. It's kind of nice to find a little family that you didn't know that you
yes,
had, right?
yes. And you guys have just been great. So,
well, hey, listen,
you.
this is how I think that you're welcome, but also it goes both ways. You know what I mean? When you meet people who, who really just want to groove with you, and a friendship tip or a DJ tip or what have you, because it's about love, it's about connection, it's about family, and what better thing is there, to find that and to expand your territory in that way. Mm-hmm. Spiritual thing for me, so I'm all about it.
Yeah. So you learn from each other. Absolutely. We need a younger generation sometimes to teach us, what's new, what's happening. That's why you always need young people around or someone a little younger. Lori, are you going to tell us who your two women are?
Oh yeah, sure. So you know what, I'm going to stick with my mother as one. Just because we were talking about her before we got on the air today, and my mom's 91 years old. Her name is Ramona. And she, she's living her life without her longtime partner. She and my dad were married for 73 years. They knew each other 70. That's a lifetime, right? And that's how long they were married. Right. So, so she's trying to make it. But this is a woman who raised 7 children, 3 grandchildren, a bunch of foster children. She was a high school dropout in the 40s. Right before the war. She went on to meet my dad, get married, and worked the post office, worked odd jobs. She never, she was kind of raised in a big family during the Depression, but she was proud. She came from this legacy. Like I talk about my great grandfather Bishop Roberts, who was a pastor of a mega church and all this stuff. And so they had this sense of pride and sense of place, and I think that no matter what the circumstance, she always held on to that. She had a lot of class, and she has a lot of class, and she had a lot of principle and integrity, and I appreciate that. Sometimes we think about legacy just in terms of money or what you inherit, but you inherit a lot more than that. You inherit character, you inherit personality, you inherit lots of things, and I can look at her and her mother and her mother's mother. And I can see how these things have been passed down from person to person. And I feel really blessed to have inherited her love of history, and her love of connection and her love of learning. And so, she's a badass and 91 years old and still doing well. Right. She went on to get her bachelor's and master's. She was a teacher. She was one of Lauren's teachers.
Oh, nice.
School in our neighborhood, nice. Matriarch, first lady, and still doing it, still get up. She's on Facebook every day because she's like, look, I can't barely hear, but I can look at Facebook and respond, send people love, so.
Yeah, get on TikTok. Got to get on TikTok. Have her do a couple of little moves,
Yeah, so big props to Ramona, Geraldine Thompson Branch. She's one of my heroes. But who I was thinking about just the other day was Ida B. Wells. I was on driving down Congress. And I had my daughter, I was like, so do you know who Ida B. Wells was? Because we're looking at the new street sign, thanks to Alderman Sophia King, who helped lead that effort. But, talk about a badass. This woman was just, so amazing. And not enough people understand who she was and what her legacy was about. But she was fearless. She did so many things for the Black community, constantly putting herself out there, constantly taking risks with her own life. As a journalist and it just as a witness, I can go on and on about her, but if you don't know who she is, Ida B. Wells, I actually happen to have a great book. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's a crusade of justice, crusade for justice, Ida B. Wells, and written by her granddaughter, and just really, really good stuff. So those are my two. Lauren, what about you?
Well, I'm going to say 4.
Ooh, of course you are.
I'm going to just do two quickly, and these are people that we all know. Again, Rosa Parks created a movement that changed all of our lives, changed the lives of Dr. King, someone else who moved us. So her impact on the world is everything, and just a humble but smart and sharp woman. And so I aspire to be that way. Just, you got to be sharp. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what's going on in the world. And just one small thing can make that change for everyone. So if I can do that, I'll be great. My other mentor is very similar to that. Her name is Dr. Margaret Burroughs. Dr. Burroughs created the DuSable Museum. It began with the Ebony Museum in her house, just displaying the things that she received from Africa, her and her husband. And she was a great artist and teacher as well. Had people over her house like Paul Robeson and these are the kinds of people that just humble woman from the South in Chicago, bringing people together, thought leaders together to create movements in Chicago. She created the DuSable Museum. She advised probably 300 other museums in her lifetime on how to get started, how other Black museums can get started, art museums and other sort of history museums. She was the impetus of that. People don't even realize the Wright Museum in Detroit, she was advising. Some of the other places all over the place, she was advising these people to get things together in their own places. So I love them. And my goal is to leave a mark like they did. And I'm running out of time, I feel like, but I still have some ideas and things that need to get done I'm working on. And I hope to be able to leave a legacy like they did without being taken to jail. Okay, so important point. It's part of Rosa Parks. But the other people I want to honor my sister. My sister is also, she's a former librarian. Also, I just have this history of people who are very chill, very humble, but super smart. My sister is and I wouldn't even care about Black history, but for my sister who would just say, oh, come to this with me. And my father was a great historian. I didn't spend time with my parents. I didn't like adults at all. So I didn't pay any attention to them. But my sister was like, meet so-and-so, go do this and bye-bye. And she just throw these ideas out at me and like, yeah, okay, I can do that. It's almost like your cousin with, you spent money being a therapist. You just need a girl like that to talk to you. And you'd be like, I wasted a ton of money on this. I could have just done what she said a long time ago, So my sister is really awesome. And I don't get a chance to thank her often, but I just love her to death and, pray that we live very long lives together. And I will also say my fourth one is Miss Branch. Miss Branch was one of everyone's favorite teacher. She certainly is one of the teachers that I remember. And this is a teacher that showed love to us as young people, that you knew it was love. I mean, she probably never had any sort of someone acting up in her class. And I was terror in my 5th grade class. I was terror. Me and my best friend, Wendy Willis, we gave all of our teachers
Can't imagine that.
It was terrible. I feel bad about it today. But Miss Branch, again, one of the first teachers, not one of the first, the only teacher in my career as a student who brought us to her house to practice a recital or something that we had. Always kind, again, she captured our attention all the time. She was just one of those people. You do not really believe all the things that we remember from her class. And
wow.
The songs that we sang she was just one of those teachers that you'll always remember, always knew loved you, and always knew she wanted you to be excellent. So you were going to perform in an excellent way. And I'm just proud to, again, when I met you again, I felt like I knew your whole family, but you had no idea who I was. But there's not a kid in my class who doesn't know exactly who you all are. And and of course, we went to school. I was closer in age to Carl and Lana.
My little brother and sister. Yeah.
Right. And so we felt like we knew your whole family. So when I saw you, when Charles Matlock, my partner, says, well, we're going to meet with Lori Branch, I was like, I know Lori. Let me tell her about her whole family, so you don't even realize it. She just was really impactful. And so I'm blessed to know you. God has certainly brought us together so we can make sure that, again, if there's anything that your family needs, there's 1,000 people who are ready to help.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice.
Thank you. That was so sweet. I'm going to make sure that Mom is watching us and hearing from you, because that would really make her day. Thank you so much. Yeah. And as of course you all are saying that, I'm thinking of all these other women who are just so phenomenal. Like I'm glad we have that.
Throw them out there.
I will throw them out there. I'm gonna start with my DJ list, and these are people who I have personally worked with. So it's not all female DJs. First, I'll just say that if you're a woman and you're doing this, props to you. I love you, and I think that, I wish you well, wherever your career takes you. But, first on my list, of course, is Celeste Alexander, because she was right out the gate, right with me, and way back in the early days, and I just always love her and appreciate her, and I talk about her because there was a time where I was working really, really tough, and she was one of the first people to take advantage of technology. So she was putting her podcasts out or her mixes on iTunes, making them easily accessible, because I was looking for stuff. And there were DJs there who I didn't know, I just didn't connect with. I kind of wanted that Chicago feel, and I was like, oh, I know Celeste, from back in the day. She's doing it again. Okay, great. And I was just like, it was elixir. It was just like, this is what my soul needs. And for weeks, I was just playing her mixes back to back. And so I always just remember that period, because it was a tough time. And Celeste was getting me through it, just like listening to her. So never doubt, DREEA, that what you're putting out there is not being heard by somebody just like me.
Okay.
But, some of the earlier ones, Fonzel, Angie Hurley, DJ Gloria, First Lady, of course, Sundance, Psycho Bitch, DJ Val, Terry Bristol, DJ Heather, of course, Lady D and Hannah VD Girl are two of my favorite DJs now. Hannah is brand new and Lady D is a vet. And so we are doing this collective, which is cool. Honey Dijon is from Chicago. A lot of Chicagoans don't know her as well as they should, but they should, because she has put Chicago on the map in a big international way. So those are to name a few. And of course, DREEA. What's up? I know she likes to say DREEA. I like to say DREEA. I don't know why, but I've changed your name.
Right. She said DREEA, so I was saying DREEA. I was saying DREEA before, but I was like, okay,
I know,
I'll just
I like
say whatever
DREEA.
Gloria says.
I'll say DREEA. But
can you tell me, is DJ Gloria still around, or?
Yeah, Gloria's great. As a matter of fact, DJ Gloria, she does special events here and there, but she used to do residencies at a place called Stargaze that was a women's bar, which is where I met her, that was on Clark Street, and it was packed every week. Oh my God, I met a lot of pretty girls there.
Can we get her on the show, man?
Yes, we need to bring her on the show. I have asked her to come on the show, but we used to also do International Women's Day dances. So we would rock these parties every year at the Congress and South Shore. Literally thousands of women would be at these dances. I had her co-DJ with me, because I used to do an event once a year for the Lesbian Community Cancer Project. South Shore. You know how big South Shore Cultural Center is? They filled the whole place up. Whole place was packed, every single year for this fundraiser. And so she came on and helped me with that. So yes, DJ Gloria, we got to get her on the show. She's a bad mamma jamma, and she can do anything. She's like DREEA, sorry. She can do open format, hip hop, and we kind of mix it up. She does a lot of Latin music, so good stuff.
Does she live in Atlanta? No.
She lives in Chicago.
Chicago, oh, okay.
Yeah, she's here.
Okay.
Don't even get me started on other DJs in other cities. There's so many, too many to name.
Nice. Yeah.
So anyway, that's a lot of those. Let's talk about. I wanted to get a little bit into some of your influences. What when you think about you've talked about folks who you admire, but what one piece of advice would you give to women who are getting in the field? Because I think you started right like in the early 90s, right? Or late 80s?
No, so my cousin, DJ Chris Luss, who's the brother of my cousin Kim.
Okay.
He's actually 5 years younger than me, but he's the one that actually taught me to DJ. He had a crew and they had equipment, and I feel like I was a little sister that kept bugging, and he was like, all right. So he showed me in 86. So pretty much right before I went to boot camp, he showed me and I made a tape. And when I came back from boot camp, I made another tape. And so that's pretty much what I learned. But so I would say inspirational wise, as far as DJing, like he's number one. Like that's my muse. He just the fact that he took the time to teach me like the basic things that I still maintain and do today. Like I'll never forget that. But also when I listen to the mixes he makes and just his vast knowledge of music and the things he does, I want to be like him, right? So I've done homages to him as well. Or I would say, well, if he could do it, then I'm going to do it, kind of thing. And so, yeah, that's the starting point. So I was introduced in 86, right? But then I really didn't start. I got paid for my first gig in 2008. And at the time I was living in Champaign. And so I kind of started off there, but I was DJing up here too. So I was doing gigs in the LGBTQ community as well. So I played at what was it's slipping my mind. It was the bar, the club, the place that you said you had a residency there, but you didn't even remember you did.
Was it? Oh yeah, I had this party called Moist. And it was a women's club. I think Psycho Bitch was DJing with me. It was one of those two. This was at the blues club.
Yeah, House of Blues.
House of Blues, right?
Foundation Room. I was doing
yes
with B Bliss. I don't think they were called B Bliss at the time.
Oh
but yeah, okay. I was doing parties with them. John Fleming, yeah. So I was doing parties up here with them. And then, DJing in Chicago, in Champaign, and doing private events. So that's kind of like how I started in 2008 down there.
Okay. And before you move on, I want to talk about women's parties.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who are listening, you have to cater to different audiences. You might be a DJ, work 5 nights a week. And if you're doing a women's club on Wednesdays and, a suburban club on Thursdays and a house music, Southside Club, it's very different audiences. And I learned that the hard way working for Craig Cannon, because Craig Cannon, who's a legend, who DJs all across, he's Dan Ryan, what's it called? East of the Ryan, CK's, so many clubs, the Ritz, you old school people will know that. He asked me, Rest in peace, Craig Cannon. But he gave me my first women's party, which was this club called CK's that is on, North Side on Broadway. And I came in there, with my house music and hip hop. I was doing a little bit of both of those, playing for boys, playing for straight people, playing for, folks at Red Dog. And he was like, you kind of have to change this up because women are very different. It's a whole different vibe here. And I'm like, it's just house music. What do you want,
But you've been to the parties, so you didn't know that yourself?
Well, because when you go to parties, you don't stay all night, So when you're going to a bar, typically you're there for maybe 2 hours, 3 tops, right? I was working from 9 to 5. And so if I got there typically at a club at 11, I left at 1, I was there during the peak hours and I heard, what I heard and I would leave. But it's a different crowd to circle through those things, especially clubs like CK's, which could hold a couple of hundred people. And it was a relatively big club, maybe 200-300 people tops. But it had a lounge feel, but it had a huge dance floor. And so he was like, you got to play different for these people. And he's like, here's the music that you need. And I had to go out and get new music, But I learned how to cater to their taste. When you played for women, did you have that experience? And tell me more about it.
So yes, at John Fleming's parties, this is probably the best example I could give of that, because he would give like a guideline, like you're saying, early part is more steppers, and then you get into house, and then those people are going home, and now it's the young people, and now you got to come with the hip hop. So that was kind of the formula, but that's what it was. And DJ Little John, he would do it too. We knew what the dealio was, because that's, what the audience expected. So it is different.
And did you do those parties so he used to do a thing called Lipstick and Lace.
Yep, Lipstick and Lace.
These were lesbian parties. They were huge.
Yes.
A lot of celebrities would show up to these things, and they weren't just, they were women parties. There were a lot of my straight women friends went too, but they were predominantly women with smattering of men.
Right.
So celebrities.
I probably shouldn't say, because I don't know, like there were several celebrities that would come through there though.
That's what Vintage House does. We spill the info here. The real dirt is right here.
I'm gonna let DREEA do that because she can spill the tea.
I don't know.
I gotta be
all
here
the info. The DJ's got all the info. We need the info.
You had celebrities come through those parties though, didn't you?
I didn't know about it. So
okay, yeah, she just taking a fifth. All right, go ahead, honey.
What was I gonna say? So he would. Even though I wanted to do the whole thing because I could do everything,
sure.
I never got a chance to do everything.
You like to mix it up.
So I would pretty much just open with the stepping music and maybe do a little bit of house, and then he might, have somebody else do the other thing, or I would open up with stepping, and then Little John would do, So he would team me up with people, and so yeah, that's what I saw. But then just going, if I was just going to the party, you could kind of see that, the audience would change throughout the night. So yeah, what you're saying does.
But it's not only that it wasn't just the style music, it was what you played. So,
yes.
I can remember those sets, like you couldn't play, you could break new music, but you had to be careful about it.
Right.
Because women were not necessarily as open to breaking new music, because these are not necessarily women who go out all the time.
Correct.
So they go out 6, maybe 10 times a year, some of these women.
Right.
And so they want to hear the same song they heard 6 months ago.
Yes.
Can you relate to what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can. Yep. Yeah. And
it's just a Chicago audience, though. Chicagoans are like that. Like, we just want to hear our old school, whatever it is. And then they mad if you haven't played it yet. You know what I mean? So,
depends on the audience. It depends. If the North Side versus South Side, young versus old, it really depends. Some people are much more open to what you want to play. When I worked at Red Dog at the same time that I was working at CK's, I could break new music all night.
All the time, yeah.
That's true. I feel right.
Same time.
Yeah.
But that's women. So, you got women who are naturally nesters, and you have DJs who are like not nesters, We're like out every night, trying to satisfy, women who like hook up and go home and get the U-Haul, and then you don't see them for 2. All right, this is not very women positive.
I love it.
Let me stop. I love you, women. I do much.
Gotta put that disclaimer. But that's what we put on in the marketing. Contrasting what you hear.
I love my lesbian sisters. I do.
The views expressed of this show belong to Lori.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I love everybody. You know me. I'm kind of an open book. You guys know who I am. I love men. I love women. I love everybody. So anyway, what other parties? What else is, speaking of men, let's talk about that. What do you think? And I want to spend a lot of time on this, because I think we don't want to focus on this because we talk about it a lot. But what do you think male DJs need to keep in mind when they're thinking about hiring a female? Or what should they be, what's the treatment? What should they have in mind?
Well, I think first they should just be open to giving opportunities. I must say, like I was telling you, I started in 2008. So I was still living in Champaign, kind of going back and forth, doing gigs. But I moved back to Chicago in 2013. I moved down to Champaign in 2004 to work at the U of I. So I moved back in 2013, and I totally did not think that I would be able to DJ up here because it's so saturated. So, which, for me was fine, because that's not why I got into it. I got into it because I love music and I love expressing myself in this way. And so that's what I was going to do. But I must tell you, every time I went somewhere and said, hey, can I get an opportunity? Hey, can I get an opportunity? I would get an opportunity, and then that would end up doing something else. And it was men. I mean, I ended up at 40 Plus's birthday party because I went to the celebrity lounge to hear another DJ. He didn't show up. So I said, well, since he's not here, can I fill in? And they were like, sure. And so I was like, I'll be right back. I went home. I got my stuff. I came back. I played. And then 40 was like, I want you to come to my play at my birthday party on Sunday or whatever it was. So, and it's at Duke's, you know, I think I started playing there in 2015 or 16. Again, I'm at the bar. It was my birthday. I go there to have a birthday drink. Mm-hmm. Whoever was behind the bar, I just said, what do you have to do to get a DJing opportunity up in here? And he's like, you a DJ? Yes. Come back on Saturday. It was Victor. I mean, what are the chances? Sweet. And so I never left. I've been, you know, I was rotating, you know, I had my own night, you know, I was calling it jamming all night. Mm-hmm. You know, I was bringing my 12s and doing all kinds of, nice. So it's like every time I turn around, somebody was giving me an opportunity when I asked, and it was males. So just be open, you know, and then, you know, if the person does a good job, you know, keep, you know, giving them opportunities after that. So I've just been very fortunate and blessed. Like I said, I can't explain it. I mean, people, I say I just showed up with my earphones and my laptop, like just a girl off the street. And they were like, sure, you can play. You can play.
And that way you probably had an advantage because they might not have done that if it was a guy.
Ah, okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that we have the most amazing men in this community. Mm-hmm. I tell my brothers that all the time that, you know, I never experienced anything, not to my face, you know, maybe mm-hmm. But it was much more contentious in the hip hop community than it was in house when I was DJing in house. Okay. And I would hear the kind of like, you know, whatever. There's a lot more judgment. Okay. But they're just, you know, the guys they're very open. And I agree with you, like, open up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. You know, like think about women when you're creating a lineup. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I still see a lot of parties, although we're in a pandemic, but even with this virtual lineups, mm-hmm. sometimes it's very male heavy. Like if you got 10 spots, mm-hmm. you know, throw 3 sisters in there, you know, right. Sometimes there's none.
Yeah.
So I, you know, I like to say, I love you and you're open and let's open it up a little bit more.
Right. Yeah. I guess I don't understand. I think I've heard people say she plays like a dude or plays like a.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't know what that means.
it means you're better than what they would expect, which is it's a misogynistic comment. Yeah, okay. I laugh it off. My buddy and best friend Craig used to say that all the time. He said, "Well, that's how I would get you jobs. I would tell people you play like a guy." And they go, oh, okay. And so they felt confident that you would be able to satisfy. So it's a backhanded compliment in a way, but it is misogynistic at its base. I mean, it really is. It's unfortunate. So we got to do better. We got to do better.
Yeah.
So we only have a little bit more time. So I want to talk about a couple of things. One is the pandemic. We are still in it. Mm-hmm. It is March 2021. It's been a year. I think in a couple of weeks from now is when Chicago shut down and the world shut down.
March 16th. Yep.
The last big party I did, you know, was downtown. Had a great time. It was a love fest. Thankfully, nobody got infected, but it was March 2020. Mm-hmm. So how's it affected your life? And I mean, you still seem incredibly busy, but you know, how are you feeling now? And, you know, and we'll talk about what happens when we come out of this, but just wanted to check in on you.
Yeah, thank you. I can't complain. I haven't contracted it. I don't know. I actually don't have that I know of, or a friend, close friend or family member that has had it or, mm-hmm. you know, has been sick or anything like that. So that's a blessing. My last gig was actually at the Renaissance. Mm-hmm. I forget who did I play with. I forget who I played with, but I did vinyl. Oh, I think it was Vic Lavender. So I was doing vinyl and then I switched over to, you know, digital and everything. And then next thing you know, that was that. It's affected me in that, you know, I was looking forward to the house club tour. I was going to be Vatican.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to whatever was going to be available to me in the summer. I was going to be at the Women's Expo. I had purchased a booth and I was so looking forward to being a part of that. Still am. I think it's supposed to be virtual, but I'm still going to do that. But Yeah, so the no paying gigs, of course, and I just, like I said, I just do the stuff, online. But to be honest with you, Laurie, I just kind of focused on other things. Like I said, I was looking for a job. I actually got my job in the middle of the pandemic. I started June 1st. It was all virtual interviewing and everything. When I went there, they were on pandemic, like COVID days and summer hours. So, we never all were together at one point. And so, it's an adjustment. Dukes, I'm looking forward to, I think they're open now, but I'm looking forward to being able to go back there and play,
Do you want to play during the pandemic if people invite you to come out and play?
Yeah, and I actually have. Last night I was at someone's house playing, but I had my mask on the whole time. Because
you feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I had my mask on. It's still COVID, sanitizer. They were, respectful of that,
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, I'm okay with it. But even at Duke's, I was about to get like my day, my second, whatever it was. So a bunch of stuff fell through, which I'm sure with everybody it did. Financially, it didn't necessarily affect me that much because primarily I work other places. So but I'm just looking forward to sharing my art. That's what it's all about. So the more people that I can share with, the better.
Well, I think it's been, the silver lining has been that it has provided a lot of people with opportunities to be seen by more folks in the virtual space. So I think you've done a really nice job of putting yourself out there and, listen to your mixes and, try to get other people to tune into that. So, listen to DJ DREEA, WKKC on Friday nights, Mixcloud, Twitch show. That's when you get like Wednesday, Thursday. Lay out your schedule. What are you doing now?
Okay, so on Sundays I do my show. I learned how to multicast it. So my primary medium is YouTube channel. So it's funny because everybody was they were on Facebook, and I was like, I never was interested in that. 2 years ago at the the House Festival that's downtown, they were having the seminars and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
At the library. And so they were talking about branding, right? Sundance. It was a whole panel. Celeste, all of them were there talking about branding and First Lady. And so I was very focused on that. So once I got the branding down, then I was just about, well, how do I be different than other people? So I was primarily starting with a YouTube channel. So that's why I did that. But I learned how to multicast through YouTube and Twitch. And another organization I provide content for, they use Mixcloud. So on Sundays, that's there. Future Vision Entertainment, which is an internet radio station. On Mondays, I provide content for their house station at 6 p.m. And then on Tuesdays, I provide content for their Steppin Club, steppin.com on Tuesdays. And then Friday, my mixes play on KKC at 4 p.m. And then we start all over again.
And you start all over again. Well, thank you. We're coming up out of this. And so I think we'll have more opportunities to be together and to be live. So, hopefully I'll see you soon. Me and Dre got to hang out a little bit a few weeks ago, a month or two ago.
Yeah, because we were supposed to, me and
Melody.
Yeah, right. We were going to have
big props to Melody too.
Yep.
She's on my list.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So we'll do it. So thank you. Lauren, you want to say anything else to DREEA? I know we got stuff coming up, so you make your announcements.
Well, just thank you so much for kicking off, Women's History Month. I mean, both of you all are really sort of role models in your own way. I mean, clearly you're inspiring others. You've inspired Lori. Lori, you're inspired by her. This is really what Women's History Month is about, how we are helping each other. So I'm really, really proud of that. We're going to have a great month of fantastic DJs and stories. And our goal to preserve the history of house music has to have a real emphasis on how people like the legendary Lori Branch helped to move the movement of house music forward. Right. Because again, there was a time when People like women DJ. Who is that? What are you talking about?
Right.
And one of the first people I learned about was Lori Branch, which I was in shock. I was like, what do you mean she's a DJ? Help me understand that.
Right.
I was like, what does that mean? She's a DJ. I was like, so, these are the kinds of things that we need to talk about. I'm very happy about that. The Spotlight, which is our after show, the Vintage House Spotlight, is featuring all women, young DJs from a group called Babes Only Fun, Babes Only X. And we want everyone to stay tuned 10 o'clock to the next installment of the Spotlight.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Lauren. And just a couple announcements on my end. I am getting back out there a little bit this month for Women's Month. So I'm going to be at the Silver Room, March 6th. We're going to do a virtual show live there. I'll be with my gal pals, DJ Lady D and Hannah Viti Girl.
Nice.
So that's coming up, doing some stuff with House in the South.
I want to simulcast that live on the Vintage House page. So let's get that working.
We'll work it out. So more to come. And wish everybody a happy Women's Day month. Respect, love, celebrate your women, provide opportunities for them. As we've discussed today, it will do nothing but add pure joy to the world. So thank you, DREEA. Appreciate you.
A quick little Lindblom love too.
Yes.
We all
What's
got
that?
Lindblom in the house today. So what up, y'all?
Do you guys know that the president of Governor State went to Lindblom? Cheryl Green.
No.
Do you know her?
No.
Does that name sound familiar? I don't know. I didn't.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't ask. I don't know if that's kind of right.
I just graduated yesterday. I don't remember all those other people.
Lindblom, what's up, Lindblom?
Yeah.
All right, people. Thanks. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Take care.
it, ladies.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now.
Here we are. Awesome. So great to be here with you, Justin. That was a really...
Now we're live.
What's up? Happy Wednesday. Happy Spotlight. It's good to be here with you. It's been a minute.
Yes, it has been a minute. Happy Wednesday. We're kicking off Women's History Month this month.
That was a great show with DREEA and Lauren and Loring. Hey, what's up, Lauren? Nice to see you.
Hey, man. Thank you so much, guys. Just so happy to be here and to be ready for Women's History Month. I mean, how fantastic is it that we're collaborating with Babes Only?
I know. I feel really blessed that we have their energy on our side this month. Mo Mommy, who we get to share an exclusive video that she put together, is curating the month, and she's put together such a dope lineup. So it's really incredible.
Justin, do you remember all of the people who are coming on this particular month? Do you remember that lineup?
In order, I believe so. So we have, we're starting off with Mo Mommy, of course. Tonight. In order, I don't remember them in order.
Next we have DJ Jillian X, March 10th.
Very
DJ
good.
Cash Era is March 17th, another local favorite. DJ Samira, March 24th. And DJ Mondai is going to finish out the month March 31st. All these tongue twisters, but it's a stacked lineup. I'm happy that it's a 5-week month because that's how many amazing DJs we have to feature.
I mean, some of these DJs are coming from London. I think that's what DJ Momami suggested, that she has young lady DJs coming in from all over the country, which I think is fantastic. It's so wonderful that there are so many people who love house music, who feel like moving the music forward, like yourself, Viti Girl. I mean, I'm so proud that we're able to move them forward, and hopefully we're going to do more collaborations with them.
We're starting off this month though. Ashley, I believe she's a local Chicago babe as well. Been part of Babes Only for quite a few years now, doing all sorts of collaborations on events with Chicagoans, women, DJs all over. And here she is popping in now.
Hey, Momami's in the stream. She'll be live talking to us next week at 10 o'clock before the next DJ. So looking forward to that. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's just going to be so much fun. By the way, I hear DJ Vita Girl, you're going to be spinning this weekend. So you might as well give us that little precursor before we go to video.
Yeah, so Lori and Lady D and I, the good girls, are getting together. It's so wild.